And then we move to the public participation standing order 3.19, but it is this stage we'll deal with the hearing of submissions on the Wainui wastewater scheme. And if I could invite, is it Ian Cranwell from Mahaanui? Sorry? Iaean, sorry, I apologise, it's my mispronunciation. Cranwell from MKT. Thank you. It's page 16. Kia ora.
Ko te pū, ko te more te wauaka, ko te rea, ko te wau kuku newhe, ko te kore, ko te pō, ko raki nui. Papa tū wā nuku, hu kaipō, ka tau anō te mau, ka ko te au heke, ka titiro, ki taka pūneke, ki o nawe, ki o pukutahi, ki Wainui, te toka tapu, tuhiraki, tū mai rā, tū mai rā, tū mai rā, hire ke hu, mako, kāre wā, tihei rā, wā mauri ora, kei te mihi atu kia koutou I tēnei ate, kia koe e te māngai, Iaean tēnā koe, koutou katoa, ngā māngai mo te kaunihere nei o tautahi, nei rā te mihi mātau ko kati rekeru kati mako, kai tā rewa kia koutou, ngā runanga o onuku me wairewa, nei rā te mihi kia koutou I tēnei rā, he kore repāna te tauka rā, ārā whakaroa. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko wai e tuana, ko Iaean Cranwell toki kua, no wairewa hau, he uri au o mako, he ere kehu hara mai, kōrero e pāna tēnei rā. Nō reira, kia ora koutou. My name is Iaean, I'm here representing Wairewa Runanga and Onuku Runanga. Nō reira, kia ora.
Kia ora.
As you, unfortunately, apologies, I've just come from Akaroa. I've been at the Akaroa wastewater hearing over in Akaroa. Unfortunately, the rest of the whānau were still there, fighting the good fight over there regarding the harbour and our resources in the Mahinga Kai. As you probably know, Akaroa Harbour has been a food basket for us for over 65 generations. The arrival of Rākai Hautu, and from then on we've been using Akaroa, the Whakaroa, the harbour in and around the area there as a food basket, as our resource. Mahika Kai is very important to us. It was part of the 9 tall trees of the Kaitahu settlement, and it is a treasure, and it has fed us for a long time. It was funny, during the submission, Mike Burke from Christchurch City Council talked about 170 years of European wastewater going into the harbour. I mean, maybe I wouldn't be acknowledging that in my presentation if that was me. Anyway, and in 1960, when the Akaroa sewage plant went on Takapuneke, one of the most wahitapu sites inside the harbour, and then having 4 areas of sewage going into the harbour in Takapuneke, at Devotials, Tikal, and at Wainui itself. Over the years, we have been trying to work with the Akaroa Borough Council, then the Banks Peninsula District Council, and now the Christchurch City Council, of trying to remove wastewater out of the harbour. Tikal Bay, that is a positive step. That's to land. Devotials, we're working on it. Hopefully, we've got a working party working on looking at using the Christchurch City Council golf course to move, get onto land. And unfortunately, that's why we're in hearing at the moment over in Akaroa, because the Christchurch City Council want to put a 35-year consent on continuing putting wastewater into the harbour. Wainui, so we thought we had finished with Wainui. We thought we'd tick that one off. So stage 1, as you all know, that got commissioned 2013, and now is stage 1, Seaview Lane, is going into land in Wainui. The reason why we also supported it was because there was going to be a stage 2. Even though stage 2 is not, there's no direct outfall into Wainui, into Akaroa Harbour from Wainui. But I don't know if you know, batches have been stayed over at Wainui, and some of the septic tanks, and even the YMCA, I mean, that was hoping for the upgrade as well, because even their septic tank is not very good. So there's a lot of just concrete boxes. So when it does rain, and the soil, and one thing that the Christchurch City Council talk about over there at the moment regarding land application is the soil ability to hold water. In winter, there's a lot of rain, and we're getting a lot of rain events recently. The water gets saturated, or the land gets saturated, and water just runs off. So even though at Wainui the septic tanks do leak, and when in large storm events they overflow and they go into the harbour. So that, I mean, it's not a direct flow from the Christchurch City Council infrastructure, but the reason, as I said, the reason why we signed up for the whole process for stage 1 and stage 2 was to get faecal coliforms out of the harbour. We do not eat any bivalve shellfish from the Wainui side anymore. That includes cockles and also mussels because they filter feed. And with filter feed, with faecal contamination, you get the norovirus. There has been, from also on Akaroa side and Wainui side, norovirus cases, in the last summer. Even that was in the summer when there should be less rainfall going into the harbour. So it doesn't matter. And of course, I remember in summer, there's more people staying at Wainui and around the area, so there's greater use of those septics, and therefore, with greater use, it does flow in. And in the winter, with the further rainfall, it does flow into the harbour. So unfortunately for Wairewa, that's our side of the harbour. When we come over and we have tangi and funeral and gatherings at the marae, we get our eels from the lake, but also we get kaimoana from Akaroa Harbour. 2 weeks ago, Auntie Noam Bunker, who was my auntie, she grew up in Opukutahi at Wainui. She's probably one of the main reasons why I'm here, just to carry on her legacy. For her tangi, it was unfortunate, because we really wanted to go and get some kai from where she grew up, but we couldn't. We had to go all the way over to the eastern bays of the peninsula to get the kaimoana to celebrate her 89 years of her life. So to me, I'm pretty devastated, that we had to do that. We know that there's perceived priorities. That's my word. We've had the earthquake. There is a lot of pressure on the council. Leanne, I acknowledge you for on the east side. I live on the east side at the moment, so I know what it's like. But I mean, how much is the environment? Cost for the environment. That's what I can say. I looked at capital expenditure. I mean, people might think I'm wrong here. You've got the coastal pathway. 10 million on a footpath. That's my perspective. Where we've got a Akaroa Harbour, which has been a food basket for 65 generations that we have lived off, and now it's I mean, we just can't. I mean, that perceived idea of clean and green in Aotearoa, that you can walk out your door and get a feed. Power, you can get power over there because it's not a filter feeder. I mean, but even so, you're still a bit hesitant on gathering that kind of food. And if you want to catch a fish, I mean, people you talked about 30 years ago, red cod, straight off Wainui. Now you have to have a boat to get out outside the heads. So those, just the perceived priorities, capital expenditure. I plead that it stays in the 2015 to 2025 LTP. I mean, people say that it goes out to the 2018 and 2028. Who's going to say in next year or in 2 years' time? There could be a new council perceived ideas that it gets bumped again. And for me, for Birdlings Flat as well, that's another area. Now Birdlings Flat, we signed an agreement in 2008 between Christchurch City Council, Iaean and us about looking at a reticulated system in Birdlings Flat. And even that's, I mean, all the infrastructure on the peninsula. Andrew knows this. He's been hearing the complaints about his constituents out on the peninsula. That we just seem to be like the poor cousins, keep getting bumped. This was an opportunity for, with the Christchurch City Plan, Amalgamated and Banks Peninsula District Council plan, that the peninsula would be perceived as a jewel, as how we see it, as a tauka of what it is. It's a pātaka kai o rākau hautu. It is the food basket of rākau hautu. We live on it. We get food off it. And if we can't do that, and we can't sustain our cultural abilities on the marae and our environmental properties, we say mō tātou, mō ka muriaki nei, for us and our children after us. And as tangata tiaki, as guardians to try and look after those areas, if we can't carry on that, what's the point? We're perceived here as treaty partners. Here, I don't perceive myself as a stakeholder here. I know you've already had Ngaitau who come in. That was the Turunanga Ngaitau. We're more on the ground here. We're the ones getting our hands dirty. We're the ones, trying to feed the marae and feed our people. And if we can't do that, why am I here? I know you've, and with the earthquake, it's devastating. And I think about that all the time, because I was running down the road and trying to pull people out of cars, So I for a while I kept on getting flashbacks on those kind of things. It was a tragedy. But from that, we had a chance to, for me, for an environment, we had a chance to do something special, do something different in regards to the environment and looking after the environment. Stormwater discharges and those kind of areas. We haven't seemed to be able to got there in Christchurch City, but still in Wainui we have an opportunity to pull the remaining flow of feces, mimi, urine out of the harbour on that side of the harbour, because Tikau Bay will be out, and actually put it onto land. Papatunuku is there. She's our deity of cleansing. She helps to cleanse. We put it on the land, and it's used by Tāne Mahuta, the god of the forests. It's used by Papatunuku to cleanse, and by the time that water gets back into the harbour from up the top there, it is cleansed. The water is pure again, ready to be used. The mauri has returned. Once you put, yesterday Tainui, one of our kaumātua from Onuku, said, would you put wastewater on your garden, to grow your garden to eat? Question, would you? Would you put your wastewater from your toilet onto your garden to eat food and feed your family? Oh, I wouldn't. So why do we put wastewater in the harbour that we feed from? That's our garden. That's our garden where we go and collect every day. Well, we could if we would. Because it used to be that was, you didn't have to go have a fridge because you had the harbour. You just walk out and go and get a feed. No data. I've probably got more. Unfortunately, as I said, I just came from Makaroa. Megan said that I might have the opportunity just to put a little supplement together, so ready for your committee on Thursday next week. So I'll make sure that we do that. Once again, apologies for not having the rest of the whānau here, but we're still operating our activities over in Akaroa for the wastewater hearing over there. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora. So, Phil?
Kia ora, and thank you very much for the presentation. When councillors go to make this decision, I guess we've got so much money, and in terms of the areas that are polluted, you'll be aware, and I think it might be alluded to in the report, that our rivers, like the Iaean and the Heathcote, are seriously polluted and putting awful pollution into our estuary. So how can we get a balance in terms, if you've got any suggestions, how we can get a balance in terms of the money we spend to clean up pollution around our estuary and our harbours?
Well, I could say is before the earthquake, this was already set. This was already set. They were ready to go last June to get it signed off to the council, and the council pulled the terms of reference off the table because they perceived that it was going to cost too much money. It is hard to balance. It's not an easy question. Not an easy answer. The environment. If I was Tuahuriri sitting here, I'd be pleading for the estuary and the rivers.
As they have.
Pardon?
As they have.
Yeah, if they have. So you will get it. Which has got greater value. You probably is when you speak to the individual. But I do paddle on the estuary. I do paddle on the river. But I do have lots of sanitizer when I do get off the river, and I don't paddle on it after a large rainstorm, and I make sure I do not flip in anyway. I'm pleading because I'm here for Aunty Nome, Akaroa Harbour, so I'm talking about the values over there. I cannot speak on behalf of my tuahuriri for the values of a hutai, even though I do use it and paddle it. I would love to see it cleaned up. One thing is the sewage is out of, the main pipe is out of there. It is out into the harbour. Out into the bight. So that estuary does have a better chance because now that the main sewerage is not, wastewater's not flowing into it, except from the broken pipes and the stormwater issues in town. I remember been in a meeting, I think, next door in Sierra, and looking out and then seeing the building on the corner pumping their water out, you know, from their groundwater out, and where was it going? Probably it was going straight into the Avon. You know, I mean, point of source, deal with it. You know, it's not the river's fault that you're pumping groundwater out. You know, so there is point source issues more than, you know, so it's at the point of source dealing with it, then more than at the end by the time it gets to the estuary. That's my point, Paul.
Yeah. So I think the purpose of the question was really not to help you make choices, but really to help you understand the significance of the balancing that we have to do around the table. But look, thank you very much, and do pass on our regards to your family, and it is fine that they're not here. I understand why there's, you know, and again, can you pass on apologies for the oversight? You know, it's one of those things that shouldn't have happened, but it did, and we're trying to make up for it as best that we can under the circumstances. But we really appreciate and value your contribution this morning. Kia ora.